Hi guys, I'm Caitlin Monson, and today I'm going to be talking about the importance of clean eating and how GMOs can ultimately get in the way of that goal. So we all know that food is fuel. However, have we ever thought about what foods we put into our bodies and how it can either positively or negatively impact everyday activities? I used to eat whatever I wanted with no care in the world. Donuts, chips, cookies, you name it, probably ate it. I did that for a while until my junior year. Like a week happened where I did not feel good at all. Felt lethargic, had a lot of brain fog, and I had headaches all the time, and I didn't know what to do. With a lot of research and doctor's appointments, I finally ended up at a nutritionist, and she had all the answers that I was looking for. My poor eating habits resulted in something known as the Candida infection, which is caused by eating poorly for long periods of time. This would remain to make me feel miserable until drastic changes in my diet were made. I needed to clean my diet up so I could get back to my active, everyday lifestyle. A major cause of my infection was eating diets full of GMOs and processed foods. So the importance of me telling you about all of this is simple. I want you guys to live a healthier lifestyle that ultimately will benefit you down the road. I understand the difficulty of clean eating, especially as a college student. It could tend to be more expensive, and it's hard to go out and buy all of the foods. But the results are remarkable, so it is worth it. Your mind becomes clear and exercise becomes easier because your body is fueled appropriately. I remember when I started clean eating my junior year, within about 1 month time of clean eating, I started to feel so much better. Running up and down the basketball court, it felt effortless. My stamina improved, all as a result of me feeling my body way better than I was previously. You may be wondering, what exactly are GMOs? Well, GMO stands for genetically modified organisms, and genetically modified organisms is when you alter the makeup with genetic engineering techniques of the food or whatever you're modifying. So society deems these modifications to our food as a good thing. No harm, no foul. However, they miss the big picture and the true effects and harms that can result from these modifications. Our bodies were not made to consume GMOs, but we have built up a tolerance to them as a result of constant consumption. Just keep eating them, nothing negative will happen. However, that is not true. GMOs are grown with toxic chemicals which are not meant to be broken down by the human body. Yes, toxic chemicals are used. According to Home Remedies, it states that GMO foods can result in infertility in women. This conclusion was drawn based on a finding study done on rats. The rats were fed soy that was genetically modified than the original soy they had been consuming before. The conclusion drawn from this study was, after a few weeks, almost all of the offspring had died due to the modifications, and the bodies were not used to it. So as a result, almost all the offspring had passed away. So these foods just don't have temporary effects such as giving us headaches, but they can result in lifelong effects such as infertility. Is that really worth it? The foods we have felt safe and satisfied eating our entire life are actually doing more harm than good. Us as a country under God need to adopt a more protective food plan that prevents unnecessary health complications. By a more protective food plan, I mean a food plan that limits the amount of GMOs allowed in our supermarkets and everyday restaurants. Companies are not forced to put if they use GMOs on their products, even though it should be noted as a warning label for consumers. However, if there's no GMOs, like in these two items I have here, there's a non-GMO thing right here to let people know that there's no GMOs in them. So I tend to lean towards more of these brands because of the I guess more safeness of that food versus other foods. It is a reasonable request to tell you It is not a reasonable request to tell you to eliminate all GMOs from your diet. It's not reasonable. But I do strongly advise that you are more cautious about what you fill your body with and that you slowly start to eliminate those foods and change to safer alternatives. An example of this would be changing from eating burgers that comes from cows that were corn-fed versus grass-fed. We all know that back in the day, cows were not fed corn. It's a modification to make the cows more plump, so the cow is done faster. So the burgers are made faster. But this modification isn't meant to happen. So I advise that you switch to a grass-fed burger because that is healthier and safer. Out of the entire global population, 73.1% of GMOs are grown and consumed here in the USA. Yeah, 73.1%. That's almost 3/4 of the world, and it is all consumed right here. That should be saying something. It's right here in our backyard. So the results you will feel from the diet change are quite amazing. As I know firsthand, I acknowledge that changing habits are hard. It was really hard for me at the beginning, but the results were quite impressive, which made the beginning part far worth it. I felt more energized, I felt happier, which ultimately resulted in my quality of life improving and going up. I also stopped feeling sick constantly, which was another key reason I have to this day limited my GMO intake. It's been years now. With all of this fresh in your mind, I challenge you to read what really is put into the making of your food. Additionally, I challenge you to limit your GMO intake, like myself, so you can lessen the risk of health complications right now and in the future. I hope you start to fuel your bodies the way that God intended for our bodies to be fueled. Thank you so much. Any questions?